Welcome to councillors, members of the public and staff, present in person, joining online or watching online this evening. The time being 6:31 p.m, I declare the ordinary council meeting of the 29th of April 2025 open. Persons in the gallery are advised that under the Local Government Act 1993, a person may not tape record the proceeding of a meeting of a council or committee without the authority of the council or committee. Tape record includes a video camera and an electronic device capable of recording speech. Mobile phones must be turned off so as not to disrupt the meeting. Anyone, including councillors, found using a mobile phone will be asked to leave the meeting immediately and for the duration of this meeting. An audio recording of this meeting will be taken for minute-taking purposes as authorised by the Local Government Act 1993. This meeting is live-streamed on Council's website to allow the community to follow Council debates and decisions without the need to attend meetings in person. Members of the public attending or speaking at a meeting agree to have their image, voice and personal information, including name and address, recorded and publicly broadcast. Strathfield Council does not accept liability for any defamatory remarks or inappropriate comments that are made during the course of a meeting. Any part of a meeting that is held in closed session will not be streamed. Councillors and members of the gallery, please note that the microphone for streaming purposes is sensitive and will record all sounds in the room. The mayoral diary for April 2025 and expenses claimed by all councillors has been tabled for your information as per Resolution 147/19. Councillors, in accordance with the mandatory provisions of the Model Code of Conduct, I remind councillors of the obligation that you will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested under Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of your ability and judgment. I'd now like to ask everyone who is able to stand for the moment of reflection. We pray that our deliberations today will be objective and decisions are impartial and made for the benefit of the whole community. Let us begin by acknowledging the Wangal people, the traditional custodians of the land on which this meeting is being held. We pay respect to elders past, present and emerging. Thank you. Now all may resume your seats. We have one apology for tonight's meeting from the councillors, that is Councillor Rory Nosworthy, whose wife has given birth, so we congratulate him on that. I note that Councillor Rory Nosworthy is currently continuing on his approved leave of absence. Are there any other councillors seeking a leave of absence? No, there are no applications. Disclosures of interest. Does any councillor wish to make a disclosure of interest?
I declare my interest, clearly states the nature of my conflict as follows. My interest is pecuniary and significant. The item number and description is PE2. The nature of my interest is I live in the tolled area. The action I intend to take is, as my interest is pecuniary, I will leave the chamber when the item is being discussed.
Thank you, Councillor. I have two declarations. My interest is pecuniary in item number PE2. The nature of my interest is that I own a property in the Todd zone, similar to Councillor Kim's. As my interest is pecuniary, I will leave the chamber when the item is being discussed, and Councillor Kai, the Deputy Mayor, will chair the meeting for that motion. My second declaration is relating to item number 7.2 and 7.3, both impacting St Patrick's College. I declare that my interest is non-pecuniary and non-significant, and therefore I will remain in the chamber and join in the debate when the item is being discussed. Any other councillors wishing to declare interest? No?
Mine is for GMU2, the draft delivery program fees and charges, non-pecuniary, non-significant. My daughter plays for a local sporting club, which is charged fees and charges in this, but I believe it's non-pecuniary, non-significant, and I'll be remaining in the room.
I'll just add my conflict of interest with St Patrick's is simply that I've had discussions with them about the issues at length, and so as not to prejudice any decisions I do make, I'd just like to declare that we have had many discussions. I've visited the school on 2 occasions. Thank you. Councillors, are there any acknowledgements? Councillor Pensabene?
Yes, and I need to use my phone.
Permitted.
Yes, I wish to acknowledge the Year 5 student Vincent Wu from St Patrick's College for his absolutely wonderful, moving poem that he wrote for Anzac Day. I would like the council to display this poem in our library and for some of the other poems that you listed as second and third, and for the artworks that were presented to you for that day. This collaboration with our primary schools for Anzac Day is absolutely brilliant, and thank you to our General Manager, Michael Mamo, for his suggestion for it to happen. And it's been going now for 3 years, and I think it's getting bigger and better, and I think bringing our schools into our Anzac Day ceremony has really made it a very special occasion on the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor, and I concur with the acknowledgement. Any further acknowledgements? Councillor Kim?
Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge my deep gratitude to the Strasbourg Council and its staff, and the Cumberland RSL sub-branch, Matt Jones and Greg Reed, their board members, for the hard work and their contribution, and also Sydney Korean Women's United Choir and other volunteers for their hard work for Kapyong Monument opening ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further acknowledgements, councillors? Okay, to mine. The first is the passing of Pope Francis. We join with the Catholic communities across Strathfield and the world in mourning the passing of His Holiness Pope Francis, born Jorge Bergoglio.
Yes, standing. We have to stand.
Councillor. I'll just stand for this single acknowledgement. His life of humility, compassion and service left a profound impact on the Catholic Church and beyond. We extend our condolences to our local Catholic institutions, which include 4 parish churches, 3 primary schools, a high school, the Australian Catholic University campus, and the Seminary of the Good Shepherd, as they grieve this loss. Thank you. My next acknowledgement is for the Tamil New Year, Putandu. We wish all a happy Tamil New Year, Putandu Vaz Thuka. I was honoured to attend the Tamil Senior Citizens Association celebration and share in their joy, colour and tradition of this significant occasion. Strathfield is proud to stand with our Tamil community in marking this new beginning of the new year. The next acknowledgement is for Easter celebrations. We extend a warm Easter wishes to all who celebrate Easter across Strathfield's very diverse Christian churches. As a time of reflection, hope and renewal, Easter continues to unite our diverse Christian communities in faith and fellowship. The next acknowledgement is for Eid al-Fitr. We wish our Muslim community a joyful Eid al-Fitr, marking the end of Ramadan. May this special occasion bring peace, unity and happiness to all families celebrating in Strathfield and beyond. During Ramadan, I was fortunate enough to join the Bulldogs NRL club for their annual Ramadan feast, a great privilege as a supporter of the club myself. The next acknowledgement is for the Anzac Day ceremony at Davey Square Reserve. Councillor Pensabene mentioned the poem that was read, which was remarkable. We also thank all who attended the Anzac Day service from all various schools and community groups. It was a wonderful celebration at Davey Square Reserve last Friday. In particular, we acknowledge the Cumberland RSL sub-branch and its president, Mr. Matt Jones, whose collaboration helped elevate this year's service to one of greater solemnity and, of course, greater scale. We look forward to continuing this tradition with the same spirit of reverence and community. The next acknowledgement is for the Battle of Kapyong Memorial installation. As Councillor Kim alluded to in her acknowledgement, we proudly marked the installation of the Battle of Kapyong Memorial at Ismay Reserve with a moving commemoration and unveiling service. A special thanks to the dedicated staff who worked tirelessly to complete this project in time. This marks the beginning of what we hope will become an enduring annual tribute, and we give a special thanks to Consul General Choi for joining us in that unveiling. I'd also like to acknowledge Mr. Rodney Sanjivi, our outgoing CFO. Council acknowledges the service of Mr. Rodney Sanjivi, our outgoing Chief Financial Officer. Rodney's leadership, especially in relation to continuing council on its journey to financial sustainability, has left a lasting impact. We thank him for his dedication and wish him every success in his next chapter. Any other acknowledgements, councillors? No, we'll move on to the meeting minutes from the 25th of March 2025. Can I have a mover? Councillor Reddy, a seconder. Councillor Pensabene. Councillors, does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? No, I put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Now to the extraordinary council meeting of the 17th of April 2025. Can I have a mover? Councillor Pensabene, a seconder. Councillor Reddy. Councillors, does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? No. That being the case, I put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. I declare the motion carried. Suspension of standing orders. As we have a number of speakers for public forum to speak on mayoral minutes, I move that the standing orders be suspended so that item 9, public forum, be brought forward. May I have a seconder? Councillor Reddy. I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. So we'll move to public forum before we get to the mayoral minutes. Number of speakers registered to address the meeting this evening. Speakers are reminded that they have 3 minutes to address council on their item of interest, with a possible 2-minute extension if approved by the meeting. Speakers are advised that in accordance with the Code of Meeting Practice, they cannot ask questions of council, councillors or staff. A councillor, through the chair, may ask questions of the speaker as long as it is direct, succinct and without argument. First up, we have Dr. Shane Jihar to speak in open forum about support for item P5, the proponent-led planning proposal. That's at 204 the Hume Highway, Chullora. Would Dr. Jihar please come forward to address the meeting?
Where would you like?
Just at the end of the table.
Mr. Mayor, councillors, I would like to speak in favour of the proposal for 204 Hume Highway, Chullora. The proposal is essentially to allow a service station on the highway with ancillary small food and drink premises for takeaway. It's already permissible in the portion of the site that it's in the neighbouring council, so we're simply seeking to unify those for both zones. It will provide jobs for 21 people during construction. It will have 16 full-time jobs when it's operating, which is, I think, exactly in line with all the objectives of the current zoning. And it was supported previously by this council and by Canterbury Council. It failed to pass at the department at the time for reasons that were perplexing to me as the current project manager of this process. But we have gone over all of the reasons that the department had given previously, and I believe they've all now been addressed. Your staff are very happy with the proposal in its current form. It fits into all of the basic statutory documents. It's in line with the LSPS. It's in line with the objectives of the Eastern District City District Plan, and we've done a social impact assessment. We've done a preliminary study on the contamination, so that's all in order. It's recommended for approval, and I commend it to you.
Thank you, Dr. Jihar. Council will now take that into consideration. Second up, we have Ms. Bernadette Mikhail, who has requested to speak in open forum about item 7.2, the mayoral minutes 625, relating to the valuation and future use of right-of-way at St. Patrick's College, Strathfield. Now, I'll note that Ms. Bernadette also has requested to speak on 7.3. We'll just separate the two, if that's possible, just for recording purposes. Thank you. When you're ready.
Good evening, Mayor of Strathfield, councillors and council staff. Thank you for the opportunity to address the council this evening. My name is Bernadette Mikhail, and I serve as the Director of Business Services at St. Patrick's College, Strathfield. I'm also a proud parent of 2 children who attended the college. Tonight, I'm here to present the perspectives of staff and parents in 2 agenda items under discussion. Both hold significant importance for the future of the college. In regards to the first, the easement. The access easement from Fraser Street to Francis Street, which is utilized by both council and the general public, measures 1.8 meters in width and 152.5 meters in length. It is situated on a privately owned college campus that is regularly used by children, including those as young as 9 years of age. This easement prevents the college from locking its gates, thereby posing significant risk to student safety. Recent incidents highlight these risks, some of which were reported to the police. 1, we had an adult found in students' toilets. 2, we had students being observed while changing for construction classes. 3, we had a separate incident where an adult was seen following a student and taking photographs. 4, there's a risk that exists for students with special needs, oppositional defiance disorder, or heightened anxiety from running off campus. In one notable incident, a young boy ran down Parramatta Road and got to as far as Oban. And lucky for us, the police found him and returned him safely. This is a situation that could have had far worse outcomes. Dogs with no leashes are running onto the campus, frightening students, including one that entered a staff room. Commercial misuse of college facilities, including the vandalism of property and grounds, and pedestrians straying from the designated easement, walking on private property. Parents have expressed concerns about the inability to lock the gates, frequently raising this with staff. There are viable alternatives for public access around the college. For example, the walk from Fraser Street to Francis Street via Shortland Avenue measures 478 meters, only 325 meters longer than the current route, which adds 3 to 4 minutes to a journey. The difference is negligible when weighing against the need to ensure the safety of the college's 1,600 students. Since the easement's establishment in 2004, Council has constructed pedestrian footpath along Fraser Street and Shortland Avenue, providing a safe and practical alternative route. The college seeks the release of the easement from Council and recognizes that this may carry a financial value. To address this, the college encourages Council to seek a formal independent valuation to help protect the students. I urge you to exercise your authority and discretion to assist us in safeguarding the young people in our care as enrollments of the college continue to grow.
Thank you, Ms. McHale. And we'll take you again to speak on the second matter. Yep. So Ms. McHale is requested to also speak about item 7.3, the Merrill Minute 725, the lease extension and new licence for Hudson Park Oval. Are you ready?
Thank you. St. Patrick's College has enjoyed a long and positive association with Strathfield Council and Hudson Park, dated back to as late as 1950s and early 1960s. This partnership began when the council entered into its first 20-year lease agreement for the use of Hudson Oval, with the college contributing financially to the initial construction costs of the Oval. Since that time, the college, a not-for-profit organization, has maintained its role as a lessee or licensee under various agreements with the council. The broader college community has consistently fostered positive presence at Hudson Park, offering access to a range of sporting activities for its students, currently totaling 1,600. Over the years, the college has supported the wider community through its use of Hudson Park, including a sub-license agreement with St. Patrick's Rugby Club. This includes both the senior and junior teams for both men and women. The college is now seeking to enter into a new license agreement with council to continue meeting its needs of its community and to enhance the public benefits derived through the use of Hudson Park. This includes proposed contributions along with council's sporting grounds allocation policy, which allows for long-term leases and licenses and provides discretion to offer increased tenure in recognition of capital contributions. The college intends to present a capital contribution for council's consideration consistent with this policy. Under the policy, council has the authority to decide whether to accept such a contribution. Should council approve the proposed initiative and works, and we know that there are many earmarked under the Hudson Park Plan of Management, would serve to expand and improve access to this important open space within the Strathfield LGA, benefiting the wider community. Furthermore, extending the college's license for up to 21 years aligns with and is authorized by the Community Land Plan of Management for Hudson Park. To ensure the college can develop a comprehensive proposal that will deliver meaningful public benefits, we request a short-term extension of the current license, which expires on 29 November 2025. An extension of approximately 6 to 12 months will safeguard the college's ability to finalize its plans without compromising its commitments to community outcomes in the interim. Thank you for your time and the opportunity to address the council.
Thank you, Mr. Mikhail. The council will take all of your commentary into consideration. The next speaker in public forum is Mr. Paul Hazarati, who is requested to speak in support of item 7.4, the Mayoral Minute 825, the report on restricting early morning access to synthetic fields at Strathfield Park. When you're ready, Mr. Hazarati.
Yeah, councillors. We support the motion, but because the main issues we have experienced is that there is antisocial behaviour, people making loud screaming noises at all hours, basically starting games that haven't been organised with the council at all, or bouncing the ball on the basketball court as late as midnight. We've called rangers, or the after our service, we said they'll send rangers out. We haven't seen any, or shouldn't say haven't, but the one time we did see, and we did approach them, they said, well, we can't stop them because they're not doing anything illegal. Because there are no guidelines as far as the council is concerned on when the area can or cannot be used. Or was the one time where we're told by the after hour service, you can call the police. Now, I think that's a bit of a waste of resources to call police to get someone to come out, because apparently they don't exceed the decibels allowable in the area. And I think the police actually have more important things to take care of. And I think it's a waste of resources for them to get the police to be sent out. I think most of the affected times that are the areas are being abused is over the weekends, which are supposedly the rest days. And there is a sign on the board when you first get into the council, the park on Homebush Roadside, that you can't use the area or the basketball courts before 10 a.m. But they're bouncing the ball at 6 o'clock in the morning or at midnight. And there was a proposal after raising the concern with council. They were thinking about one possibility is putting a soundproof wall down the two sides of the car park, or the council park. I think that'll be unsightly, and I don't think it'll be very effective. I think the only two options you have is either fence the both areas off, as in Homebush Roadside and Chalmers Street side, and then you open them up when you can use it and close it off when you can't use it, be it 8 o'clock in the morning, because you've got clubs that actually do the right thing and book it with the council to be able to use it. You've got people that are abusing, not doing the right way. Or you send out rangers, and at least in pairs, because it's no good to someone out on their own, in patrolling the area in more detail. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hazarati. Okay, councillors, we will resume standing orders. Bear with me. Okay, public forum is finished, so we will move to resume standing orders. I put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Can we have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Reddy. Now to the mayoral minutes, starting at mayoral minute 7.1, 5-25, the report on increasing maximum allowable underground car parking for residential developments. I move that council prepare a report for council's consideration outlining planning options and mechanisms available to facilitate an increase in the maximum permissible number of underground car parking spaces in development applications for residential dwellings. That the report include, but not be limited to, a review of Clause 4.6 in Schedule 1 of the Strathfield LEP 2012 New South Wales, and any applicable development control plans that may regulate underground car parking or driveway widths. Consideration of planning pathways, for example, the LEP or DCP amendments, to enable larger basement car parking areas for single dwellings or dual occupancies. Advice on constraints under state environmental planning policies, for example, the SEP, Transport Infrastructure 2021, local planning instruments or engineering standards that may restrict such increases. And finally, recommendations on how increased underground parking may reduce on-street parking congestion and improve residential amenity. that the report further consider whether incentive-based mechanisms could be developed to encourage underground parking instead of above-ground garages or carports, particularly in heritage conservation or low-density zones. Councillors, does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Blackmore.
Yeah, look, Mr. Mayor, I would thank you for putting this motion forward. And I'll just speak quickly, just to say that I will be supporting the motion. I believe that, people are actually, there's big talk about people go, let's have less parking in the development. People are trending towards electric vehicles. They're not trending towards public transport, and most residents in our area have a number of vehicles. So we need to be able to provide enough space, and I support the Mayor's motion to actually get these cars off the road so that we actually have parking in our streets and reduce the congestion.
Thank you, Councillor Blackmore. Any other councillors wishing to speak for or against? No, that being the case, put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Now to 7.2, the mayoral minute 625, valuation and future use of a right-of-way at St Patrick's College, Strathfield. I move that council note the receipt of a formal valuation from St Patrick's College, Strathfield, in relation to their proposal to acquire the council-owned right-of-way currently located within their school grounds. Request that council obtain an independent valuation of the subject right-of-way land for comparison and consideration, and request that a report be brought to council outlining the following: the outcome of the independent valuation, legal, planning and community implications of collapsing or extinguishing the right-of-way, any relevant provisions under the Local Government Act 93 or the Roads Act 93 which may impact this pathway, and current safety and security issues arising from public access to the school grounds via the right-of-way. Councillors, does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Blackmore.
Lots of words today.
I do have look, I would actually, I would like to thank the Mayor for bringing all this mayoral minute. In the past, I know myself and Councillor Pensabini, when we were Mayor, both met with the school and we discussed this item, and it has been going on for an extremely long time. I would like to see, though, and just putting it out there now, it has been in the past, and I think if people, if there's an us and them sort of argument, we're never going to get where we want to end up getting a result on this matter. So I think this is, to me, this is a business proposition. If there's a value on the right of way, we get that valuation. The council assesses it, makes a decision. The only thing that I would probably add that I would like to have in the report, because there's a lot of rumours in the past about this, and I'd like to get some clarity on it. Just in the report, if we could just add in there to take into account in that report, basically, there is a rumour out there saying that there wasn't some sort of reduction in price by putting this right of way on the property. So there's been talk about in the past, there's never been any evidence of this, but I would actually like to get some clarity on that, Mr. Mayor.
I'm happy for the minute taker to include an amendment to the mayoral minute, just to include under the third dot point as a sub point, to include any history of the right of way and its creation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor.
I'm supporting it.
Any other councillors wishing to speak for or against the mayoral minute? That being the case, I put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Now to the mayoral minute 7.3, 725, the lease extension and new licence for Hudson Park Oval. I move that council grant a 6-month extension to the current licence held by St Patrick's College, Strathfield, for the continued use of Hudson Park Oval, commencing upon expiry of the existing agreement. This extension is intended to provide operational certainty for the upcoming sporting season. 2, invite St Patrick's College to prepare and submit a formal proposal to council during the extension period, outlining a potential capital contribution toward the improvement, maintenance, or upgrade of Hudson Park Oval as part of future leasing discussions. And 3, request staff to continue engaging with St Patrick's College throughout the process to guide, I think there's a missing word in the minutes actually, throughout the extension, let's add that, to guide and assist in developing an appropriate proposal to bring a report back to council when satisfied. Councillors, does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? No, that being the case, I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Now to Mayoral Minute 7.4, 825, report on restricting early morning access to synthetic fields at Strathfield Park. I move that council prepares a report on the feasibility and implications of restricting access to the synthetic fields at Strathfield Park from evening closure until 8 a.m. daily. That the report include consideration of the following: current usage patterns of the synthetic fields, including bookings by seasonal hirers and unregulated casual use, community feedback and complaints received, particularly from residents of Augusta Street and surrounding areas, regarding early morning noise and increased activity, potential signage, gating or enforcement measures to prevent use before 8 a.m, the impact of such restrictions on regular hirers, maintenance schedules and compliance with any existing license agreements or permits, and comparisons with access times and usage regulations for synthetic sports fields in neighbouring local government areas. Councillors, does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Pensabene.
Yes, the only problem that I have with this is that the fence, if we lock the gate, the fences are very low, that the children can actually jump the fence and use the grounds as is. So we need to get a full report on how we avoid that.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Reddy?
The mayor would consider instead of 8 a.m, 7 a.m. would be, if he would consider, because 8 a.m. is too late. Sporting people would like, in summers it's bright daylight, so if you would consider having it by 7 a.m.
I'm happy with that to be the motion. Councillors, is there broad support for that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm fine with that. All right, let's make it 7 a.m. in the report.
No. Maybe in winter, 8 a.m.
Makes
in
no
summer,
difference
7
whether they still
a.m.
play. Makes no difference.
All right. Councillors, anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion?
1,500 light fence. That won't jump.
No. That being the case, I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Now to 7.5, Mayoral Minute 925. Investigation into rezoning industrial land near residential areas and increasing density in key centres. I move that council prepare a report identifying areas within the Strathfield local government area where existing industrial zones are located in close proximity to residential neighbourhoods and may no longer be suitable for heavy industrial use. That the report explore opportunities to rezone or transition these industrial areas into more livable, mixed-use or residential-friendly zones, improve land use compatibility and reduce negative impacts such as noise, air quality and land use conflict, address the increased volume of trucks and heavy vehicle traffic using our local suburban roads, which poses safety risks and degrades residential amenity. That the report also identifies locations around shopping centres, train stations and other strategic locations where increased residential density could be supported to offset the loss of industrial capacity, in line with strategic planning goals. And finally, ensures that any proposed changes aims to improve housing choice, support vibrant neighbourhoods and enhance traffic safety, whilst protecting existing local jobs where possible. Councillors, does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? No, that being the case, I put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Mayoral Minute 7.6, the last Mayoral Minute. Investigation into incentive-based policy to promote high-quality architectural design in Strathfield. I move that council prepares a report for tabling at the ordinary council meeting in July on the feasibility of developing a new local planning policy that incentivises high-quality architectural design particularly traditional or context-sensitive built form, in exchange for modest planning benefits, such as additional height, floor space, or density, where appropriate. As part of the preparation of this report, the report is to identify and engage with advocacy organisations or expert bodies who promote city beautification, classical architecture, or context-sensitive urban design. Ensure that any recommended policy mechanisms operate within the existing framework of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979, the Strathfield Local Environment Plan 2012, and other relevant planning instruments. Investigate best practice models in comparable jurisdictions where architectural design excellence is rewarded through planning incentives, and how such models have been integrated legally and successfully. That the report includes options for trialling such a policy in targeted locations, for example in heritage interface areas or transition zones, and provide commentary on the potential urban design and community satisfaction benefits of such a policy, safeguards to ensure any bonus provisions are conditional on genuine, high quality design outcomes, not generic uplift. And finally, whether the policy could be adopted as a DCP guideline or incorporated into Council's community participation plan. Councillors, does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? No, that being the case, I put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Now we move to items by exception. In accordance with Section 13 of Council's Code of Meeting Practice, items can be dealt with by exception, and they can be adopted as recommended by single motion. I note the following items cannot be dealt with by exception. In fact, I believe there are no items that can't be dealt with by exception.
Are you serious?
Oh, actually, except for the those of which we have declarations of interest, which include.
You have to go through each item.
I would like to pull something out.
Sorry, the other way around. Sorry, councillor. That no items can.
I didn't think we'd make midnight.
No, councillor. That's the inverse.
Sorry.
Cannot be dealt with by exception. So it's a double negative.
Yeah.
So they can't be dealt with by exception. So it's just the items of which there are declarations of interest. So P2, I believe.
We'll go through them.
Anyone? Yeah.
We'll go through them.
Just one moment. We'll just quickly mark off P2 because there is a declaration. P2. Sorry. P2, yep. Perfect. Okay. Thank you, councillors. All right. Moving through them. We have 10.1.
By exception.
By exception. 10 point.
Out.
I'll bring out. Okay, we'll bring it out, Councillor Kim. Sorry. 10.2.
Out.
Okay. I'll remind councillors we have 1,300 pages to get through, so we can't take them all out. 10.3. Very good. 10.4. 10.5.
Out.
10.6.
I think I need to pull that one out.
10.7.
Out.
GMU 1.
By exception.
GMU 2.
Out.
Okay. GMU 3.
Out.
CCS 1. CCS 2.
Go for it.
CCS 3, CCS 4,
CCS 3
Come on,
out.
councillor. CCS 3.
Out.
Okay.
Out.
CCS 4. CCS 5. CCS 4 is
Small grants.
taken by exception. CCS 5.
exception.
CCS 6.
Exception.
CCS 7.
Exception.
P1. P2 has to come out, as we said.
P1 we need to talk about, I think.
Okay, I'll bring P1 out, yep. P3,
P2.
P2 has to come out. P3, P4, P5,
Out.
P5, okay. P6 is out, yes. P7,
Out.
P8, EO1,
Out.
EO2,
Out.
yes. EO3, EO4, EO4,
Yeah, 4.
EO4,
Yeah, that's fine.
sorry, 12.1, and EO5, which would have to go into closed session to pull out.
Is that okay?
EO5 is okay.
Yes. Everyone happy with EO5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will support the recommendation. All right, let's begin.
I lost the C one.
Bear with me. I move that the items mentioned be dealt with by exception. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Reddy. I now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Okay, we've done public forum. Okay, notices of motion. Sorry. Councillor Kim, I believe. 10.1, Councillor Kim, you have moved this motion. Can I have a seconder? I'll second the motion. Councillor, would you like to speak for your motion?
Yeah, just, I have, all this is okay, just I want to put deadline for report should be prepared until 5 June council meeting.
Is that a change?
That's a change, nothing different.
Thank you. Can that be reflected in the
Otherwise,
minutes?
too long.
That the report be returned by the June council meeting? Any other councillors wishing to speak for or against the motion? No, that being the case, I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. We now move to 10.2, Consumer Protections for Illegal Building Works. Councillor Blackmore, you have moved this motion. I will second it. Councillor, would you like to speak for your motion?
Look, I'll speak briefly. I do want to add a small amendment as well, Councillor, just to point 1. If we can add on the end of point 1, that yes, it's possible including those recent plans of property in residential dwellings. If we can just add on the end of that sentence that were constructed after the introduction of private certification.
We'll just wait a moment for the minutes to reflect the request.
Yep, that's good. Look, just briefly on this, Councillor, and I'll speak very, very quickly on it. It is something that's very important for our community. We have a lot of building works. You've seen some articles in the paper of recent about where properties have had illegal building works. There's a lot in the basement, but there's other works as well. Basically what this is trying to do is to put some consumer protection to people who are purchasing properties in our LGA, where if you have an approved plan for the property, basically that it's an available thing. A 10.7 certificate is a document that legally has to be in a contract of sale. So by having those plans or some sort of, if those plans are possible, or otherwise there's some sort of warning that we can specifically put in the document to actually make sure that a lot of these buyers are aware of the potential risk of buying a property that has illegal building works. A lot of people assume because the property has an occupation certificate that the works are legal. They may have been done in a private certification, may have been done post. There's discussion of things where things have been approved and then, a doorway is knocked out of a wall and there's extra rooms appear in a basement. Basically, it's really not fair that people would do something and build something illegally, and then what happens is they actually put clauses in contracts which take any liability from themselves onto the issue. And when our council comes in or there's complaints from neighbours, the person who, one, pays a developer an enormous amount of properties, like we've got properties selling for $17 million, houses in this council area, then the council is notified, the council finds out. It's the person who's purchased and paid this enormous amount of money.
Councillor Blackmore, just a quick point of order. I'll just remind members of the gallery that mobile phone usage isn't permitted. Thank you. Continue, Councillor.
Thank you. So basically, it's a protection there that, and it's something that I believe that we possibly can do, and I want to know that we can do it. It's not fair that someone pays someone an enormous amount of money for a property or for something, and then they're the one to actually get repercussions about something that's been done illegally. It's happening a lot in our area. I know our council staff are doing a fantastic job really on top of this now, but it is something that I think we need to put in there to protect our new residents.
Councillor Blackmore, do any other councillors wish to speak for or against the motion? No, that being the case, I put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to, item 10.5, Corrali Avenue, the widening road motion. Councillor Chai, you have moved this motion. I will second the motion. Councillor, would you like to speak for your motion?
Yeah. I think recently, our council has a lot of debating about, Corali Avenue for the Canada bus or even the public bus to be accessed into the area. I think if you want to fully, resolve the problems, I think the best way is to Corali Avenue, that the bus can go inside, and that then no more, those issues happened. And also, that will benefit to the many residents in the area near the Corali Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Blackmore.
Look, I would like a small amendment if Councillor Chai and yourself are open to it, Mr. Mayor. I think that basically we have another point that councillors be presented at a workshop any previous plans brought to council regarding the widening of the road at Corali Avenue. So I am supporting Councillor Chai's motion, but there was some plans brought forward to the council many years ago, which was actually a really, really good outcome, which wasn't supported at the time. So I think if we can, rather than rehash it, like we just find the old plans and try to see if it's going to work. Is that something you'll accept, Councillor?
Yeah, I accept this one. That's a good point.
Thank you, Councillor Blackmore. Any other councillors wishing to speak for or against the motion? No, that being the case, I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried. Councillors Bellardi, Chai, Reddy, Kim and Blackmore. All those against? Councillor Pensabene. Declare the motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I might just, we've got members of the gallery here waiting for a specific item.
Sure.
Would you like to move to suspend standing order to hear that item?
Happy to, Councillor. I think.
Quite a meeting.
Sure. I'd also note that had we not pulled everything out, we would be there by now. But, councillors, I will move that we suspend.
He does have the exhibit, yes.
I will move that we suspend standing orders in favour of, and seconded by Councillor Reddy. Bear with me. Sorry. For P5, yes. Sorry. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Moving to P5, we have an officer recommendation for this report. Does anyone wish to move that report be moved as a motion in relation to this report? I will move. Any councillors wishing to second? Councillor Reddy. Councillors, would anyone like to speak for or against the motion?
I just have a question.
Thank you,
on
Councillor.
the motion, if we may. With this, what benefit, if the planning department can ask, is the council receiving for supporting this planning proposal?
Through the General
I
Manager.
know there's a community benefit for the jobs, but I just want to know if there is a benefit to the council.
Through the General Manager, I'll extend the councillor's question.
Thank you, and through the General Manager, we haven't sought a planning agreement or any particular public benefits associated with the planning proposal. Really on the basis it is just additional permitted land uses without additional uplift in development yield or height or anything like that at all.
Thank you. Councillor Blackmore, any further questions? Councillors, any further questions? No, that being the case, I'll put the motion to the vote. All those wishing to support, raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Evening. Now I'll vote to resume standing orders. Back to 10.6. All those in favour of resuming standing orders? Carried unanimously. We will move to 10.6, the installation of a zebra crossing. Sorry, Councillor Reddy. Councillor Chai, you have moved this motion. I will second it. Would you like to speak for your motion?
Yeah. Okay, in the Flemington station, there's a lift in there, but people always, come out from the lift, always cross over the crescent instead of dangerous. So some of the residents approach me, suggested to have a zebra crossing just right next to the, lift to the other side of the shops. Okay, we have another, zebra crossing on the other.
Henley Road.
No. On the other side is
On the eastern side of the.
Yeah, eastern side. Okay, thank you. Eastern side of the zebra cross with the bumper as well, but this one just the crossing. Okay, on the western side. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillors, would anyone else like to speak for or against? Councillor Pensabene?
I put this to the traffic committee once before when I was mayor, and I had the traffic engineers come out to have a look, and we would lose at least 4 to 8 parking spaces if we put in a pedestrian crossing from the lift. So if people can't walk around to the crossing, then they take their life at risk by crossing on the road. But if we put a pedestrian crossing on that space where you said after the lift, it's going to take up at least 8 parking spaces, and I don't think the shops will agree to it.
I will ask a question through the General Manager about the history of that particular report that went to the Traffic Committee, I've been told. Would the General Manager like to say anything?
Yes, so through you, Mr Mayor, my understanding from the officers is that what's been proposed has actually recently gone back through the Traffic Committee and been approved by the Traffic Committee. I think it may have been at the March meeting. In terms of the works itself, that's probably where we're at in terms of a funding source to deliver the works. Is that correct? Yep.
It didn't go to the March meeting. You need more study then. I don't remember that going to the March.
Okay, it's a report.
It's a request for a report, so we'll
cover that off in the report, but I do believe that it has gone.
Thank you. We'll see the report. Any other councillors wishing to speak for or against the motion? No, that being the case, I put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried. Councillors, all those in favour, please raise your hand. Councillors Bellardi, Chai and Reddy.
What report for the report?
Yeah, for the report, yeah.
And Councillor Kim. All those against, please raise your hands. Councillors Blackmore and Pensabene. I declare the motion carried. All right, moving to 10.7. Councillor Chai, you have moved this motion. I will second it. Councillor, would you like to speak for your motion?
Yes. As we know, in the Centenary complex, Centenary Park complex, there are more than 4,000 people. Last time, the Councillor Pensabini said that there's more than 5,000 people in there. It's a lot of people in the complex, but based on the current regulation, we are not allowed to have a restaurant or something, shops in there. I think that's not very convenient for a sealed complex community in the areas. So I just ask whether council can consider have some like a restaurant can be in the area, minimum to satisfy such big number of people in the area, in the complex.
Thank you, Councillor. Do any other councillors wish to speak for or against? Councillor Blackmore.
Look, I can't. I understand your concept and you've got good intention behind this motion, Councillor Chai. I can't support the motion though because I don't think it's council's responsibility to be potentially putting forward planning proposals for individual property owners to change or enhance their property. This to me I would suspect, and I'm happy to take advice from planning, that an individual property owner would say put a planning proposal forward to say we want change, as the proponents have done who are here tonight, to say we want a change of the permissible uses in that property. So I think it's not. I don't think this is a council responsibility. I'll be voting against it. Yeah, I do understand good intentions, Councillor Chai. But I just don't think it's something council should be doing for individual owners.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillors wishing to speak for or against it? Councillor Reddy?
As far as my understanding, Councillor Chai is not asking for individual properties. It's just a broader report which says people who would like to put the shops in, put the application, yes, we can permit or cannot permit. So, because it's a report and it's useful for the people who are living in that particular area, I would be supporting it.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillors wishing to speak for or against the motion? No, that being the case, I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Councillors Bellardi, Chai, Reddy and Kim. All those against, please raise your hands. Councillors Pensabene and Blackmore. I declare the motion carried. Now to some reports. GMU 2, the draft delivery report. Councillors, we have an officer recommendation for this report. Does anyone want to move that that recommendation as a motion in relation to this report?
GMU 1?
This is GMU 2. Yes. So I will move the report. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Reddy. Councillors, would you like to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Reddy.
I'm good. I'm good with it.
You're good with it? Hang on.
Fees and charges, yeah?
Fees
and charges, yeah.
I have, through the chair, I would like to apologize for not able to completely reading my papers this time. It's close to 1,500 pages. I would like to ask, because I've been given draft fees and charges manual. It doesn't say, or I've missed out. Are there any discounts for community organizations and any discounts for sporting grounds and venues for schools, public schools, private schools, and community organizations? And I would like to amend a few prices which I was not really. Can I amend as I go?
Yep, so what we'll do is I'll move an amendment to the motion, and as the mover, I'll just allow it to reflect that, which will seek to adjust the following fees and charges, and I'll allow Councillor Reddy to nominate some of those, and any other councillors. I believe every councillor has a printed copy in front of them.
Thank you.
If there are any changes, I'm open to the suggestions.
Can I request the mayor to tell us the page numbers as well as you go, because it would be easy.
Are you gonna, Councillor Reddy, are you gonna be moving adjustments?
I thought you were moving. I can.
I've moved the motion, but I'm happy for you to mention any adjustments.
Okay, can I start?
Yep, sure. I have nothing. And I'll remind councillors who do have any suggestions that if the pricing principles are listed as legislative requirements, they cannot be adjusted.
Page number 37. Insurance. Before I could start pointing out, are the community groups getting the discount?
Yeah, we'll ask the question first. Can I ask the question through the...
If they are, then it doesn't, half of them don't make sense.
Sure. I'll ask the question through the General Manager as to whether there are discounts or price adjustments for community groups as listed by the councillor.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So if you refer to page 39, at the bottom, point 2 of the notes makes reference to the fees and charges should be read in conjunction with council's hire of community facilities and the community discount policy. So there are community discounts that do apply to venue hourly hire fees. So I don't recall specifically the policy, but I know that there are community discounts that are applied, which I think, and don't quote me because I haven't read the policy this evening, do rate, it's about 80% is the discount, but don't quote me on that because I haven't refreshed my memory of the policy which was adopted some time ago.
All right, Councillor Reddy, why don't you go through your suggestions, and if they are hourly hire items, we can avoid including them.
One of the items would be community venue hires for the community groups.
So that's venue hires number 2 or all?
All of them, all the facilities.
That's
1 to 9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yep.
I would like to request the price to be the same or reduced, not increased. Though it looks like a very minor change, but already the community is not, it's a very high price to pay, and it's always our facilities are underused. If we keep the price, we can, rather than have fully booked and fully used.
Okay, so the amendment to reflect venue hires to, so that's section venue hires, 1 to 9 for the year 2024-25 pricings to not change.
Yeah.
For the draft prices to be rejected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So items 1 to 9 to remain the same. Yeah, correct. Any?
And page number 8, waste and recycling.
Page number?
8.
58.
Oh, 58, 58. Yes, Councillor?
It's the bin charges. The red bin and the yellow bin are the same price, whereas the yellow and green bin are 240 litres, whereas the red bin is only 120 litres.
Sorry, I missed which page?
Page number
58.
Oh, 58, okay.
The bins replacement. Maybe there could be a change for red bin because it's a smaller bin.
It's a comment on.
Councillor Blackmore, yeah?
Once a week, I
I'll
don't
just,
second.
just if I can ask a question through the chair to help Councillor Reddy. Yeah, through the chair, just in relation to the waste charge, there's obviously, I assume there's different pricing for the different bins due to the different cost in the getting rid of the different waste. Can you?
Yeah, it's differently sized bins, councillor. Yep.
So through you, Mr. Mayor. So the domestic waste charge is based on the number of services. So you've got to understand the cost inputs that go into providing the service, which includes the running of the trucks, the wages and salaries for the staff, and the waste disposal. The extra services are then additional services on top of the waste charge. So every household is provided with a 3 clean-up service, and that's what's included as part of the fee that's proposed for $615. The extra service, which I think is the fee that you're referring to.
She's referring to bins replacement.
Replacement, yeah.
Sorry, Councillor.
This is page 58, the third.
So the bin replacement.
Replacement.
So the bin replacement, so you're not referring to the extra services, you're referring to the bin replacement.
Yep.
Because the red bin's smaller than the yellow bin, it should be a cheaper price.
The smaller red bin is the same price as the larger red bin and other bins.
Half the capacity.
That's the point, I think, councillor. Is that correct, councillor Reddy?
No, it's the same price.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're talking about $7.
No.
Not the change.
Sorry, can we just?
It's not the change, it's the,
I want the
I
bin
understand the
price to be
principle.
lesser.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
replacement.
do you have a suggestion for the price, councillor?
If the council could consider red bin being cheaper than the bigger bins,
Do you have a,
because it's half the capacity,
councillor, do you have a price?
I don't think I could give a price.
I'll ask the general manager just to comment on this.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, could I suggest that question could be taken on notice without us amending the fee, and we can come back to you through the exhibition period. My sense is the cost of the bin is actually what it reflects the recovery, that it actually costs us to purchase the bins. Just because it's a bigger size bin, it's probably...
Councillors, I'll just remind them that the general manager is making a few comments.
Would you like me to repeat myself?
If you could, please, thank you.
Okay, all right. I can do that. So the cost of the bin would be reflective of what it costs council to purchase the bins. So we purchase them from a provider. The fact that they're a different size bin doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to cost us a different fee. So the bin is the same shape, just slightly wider and a little bit higher.
And we have
My
we order more big bins and small bins.
The house is cheaper.
If you
I
want
already replaced it many times.
Okay, thank you, councillor. Any other commentary or suggestions to amend the fees and charges?
That's it.
At all? Other councillors with commentary on? Any other councillors with commentary on fees and charges? That Councillor Blackmore.
Firstly, just in relation to Councillor Reddy's amendment here, we've got their venue hires 1 to 9 for the year 2025-25 is price the same as 2024. I think we have to just add in there to say excluding any newly struck fees, because there are some fees in there which are new fees, which have not, like, there has a $9 amount on them. So if we put it as the fee for 25-26, it'll mean that we won't be able to charge anyone for those items.
Could the minute taker just reflect that? Thank you.
So just a part of that one. And then what I would suggest, a couple of things. One second. Page 36.
Just before you continue, councillor, just the wording for A, we'll maybe change it to excluding new fee amounts.
For 25, 26.
Which, sorry?
Chart. reflect the proposed fee.
And we'll continue the sentence, which are to reflect the proposed fee for 2026/7. Sorry, 25/26. Thank you.
Okay, under open space and sports fields,
What number?
page 40.
Yeah.
That whichever proposed fee is the lower fee,
Councillor, do any of these reflect a lower fee in the proposed?
yes. The lighting fees are proposed to be less than this current year. Is one of them, there's two.
I don't see that in the report, it's going from 15 to 16 and 56 to
Page
60.
41.
Yeah,
Lighting fee.
41.
So I'm saying the whole section of open space and
So
sports
what are
fields.
you saying now? Higher fees?
Whichever one of the two proposed, so 2024/25 or 25/26, whichever one of those fees is the lowest fee, is the fee that we'll be putting on exhibition.
Can I just clarify?
Yes. The General Manager will just make a clarification.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so just so councillors are aware, the fee on page 40 reflects the fee for not-for-profit clubs, and the fee on page 41 reflects the fee for for-profit clubs. So those who run a commercial operation and they're running their clubs to make a profit. Just so that there's an understanding of the distinction between the two.
And if we can just put in the, basically the same thing, excluding any new fee amounts which are reflected for proposed fees, just to cover, because there are a few not applicable items there. I'm talking about the whole section for,
So not just lighting fees?
no, I'm talking about the whole, that's what I'm saying.
There are a
I'm
couple.
talking about the whole open space and sports field section, which is page 40, page 41, 42, 43, 44, and part of 45.
So in other words, Councillor, no, what is that? For only changes which are reductions to be included?
Can I just clarify?
Is that what
So
you're?
if through you, Mr. Mayor, can I just clarify? So the intent to have one fee across all categories, regardless of type of use?
No, what
I'm just not clear whether we're talking about lighting fees or all fees. So all fees?
every single thing.
So,
I'll just,
to give an example, can I give an example?
Councillor Pinsabene, yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, on page 40, the synthetic field hire, $59 to $63, it stays at 59.
Yes.
Right. So, we go to
Page 41.
page 41, there's one that's lower in the draft.
That's
So,
grass fields higher, for example.
So for example,
yeah,
synthetic hire,
at Cook Park, Mason Park, yes.
252, but we're proposing 95, so we keep the 95.
Yeah.
Yep. So just in terms of wording to reflect that, just to assist our motion, we'll say that,
If we've been in charge on the open sports section.
yes, the General Manager will make a clarification.
So, sorry, councillors, this is why we do workshops. So can I be clear that what you're saying is you're comparing the current 24-25 fee to the 25-26 fee
Yeah.
and saying whichever is the lesser on that line?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Is that correct, Councillor Blackmore? Just to
So you
clarify.
look at this.
So you're not, the way the confusion's coming about for me is you made reference to page 40,
Sorry, I said
lighting
that.
fees,
I said-
and you made reference to page 41, lighting fees.
Yeah.
And the way I interpret that was you were combining the one lighting fee.
No, yeah.
So we just need to be clear because we need to put this out on exhibition.
Yeah. So, yeah, just to use the General Manager's language, the lesser of the fees between the current and proposed will be adopted,
Yes,
And in such cases that there is no existing fee, it will be the new fee.
that's correct.
We'll just,
Did you get that?
We've got it, yeah? So, yeah, if there's no same, just have that same exclusion, yeah.
Like on page 41, it's 35 for 25, 26, but it's 50 this year.
Yes, that's what I'm,
So we want to make it 35.
so we'll go for the lower amount for our local club.
councillors, is everyone okay with that? Any further suggestions?
Just a question.
Yeah.
Page 42, just of those fees, 1.3.4, other fees. It says kiosk or canteen hire, per location per season. So there's no fee attached now, and there's $5,000 a tee on the new fees. I just want to get some clarity.
I will just ask the question or forward the question to the General Manager to get clarification on that one.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that fee applies to the for-profit clubs. It's a new fee that's been established and proposed for next year.
Thank you.
I got a question.
Sorry, Councillor, I'm still going.
Councillor Blackmore?
Yes. Okay. So also the next one will be community garden.
Yeah.
We have a proposal here to waive all fees in relation to the community garden.
Which page is that, Councillor?
Sorry, page 36 on the fees and charges.
I agree with that. Waive it.
Yeah, sorry, we've got it, yeah?
Yeah.
So I think it should read, to be waived for Strathfield LGA residents on all those items.
Okay, thank you, Councillor.
Just waived. Apologies, Councillor, normally I do go through this, but it is quite a big paper and I'm quite busy at the moment, so I apologise that this is being done in the meeting. Page 33. Events and filming. So we have two items there, not-for-profit store covered and not-for-profit site uncovered. I would like both of those items to be reduced to $30.
Say again.
Major events and films, page 33, not-for-profit stores covered and not-for-profit sites uncovered.
Sorry, remind me, non-for-profit,
Not-for-profit store.
covered and uncovered, yep. So the fee to be what, sorry?
Just $30, I think, is a fair fee for our community groups.
Attendance over $5,000, 5,000 persons?
Yeah.
Yep, that's with events where attendance is over 5,000 persons. Councillor. I'm not going to include that in my motion, Councillor.
I think those fees are quite reasonable.
Yeah, so do I. I won't include that suggestion in the motion. I'll be happy to move after the fact.
I'll let the community groups know about that, it's fine. Okay. I'll get my litter box in order.
Page 31, business weeks.
Thank you. Page 31, business papers.
Yes, I believe this is a mistake.
When was that?
For a year?
Yeah, so less than $100.
Oh, business papers for the whole year.
To get them, so if you were a request.
So I'll just ask the General Manager to clarify what the actual line item is.
So, through you, Mr Mayor, so that would be if a resident requested the provision of a business paper for the full year, so that would be $1,000, so it's effectively, it's about $100 per publication of the business paper. So if you think about tonight's paper, it was 1,268 pages, so it's the staff time, it's the cost of printing and delivery.
It includes delivery? Well, you'd hope so.
I've never had the request.
Okay. And is there a fee associated with, on a random night, council meeting like tonight, someone approaching the council for tonight's business papers? Is there a fee associated with that?
So through you, Mr Mayor. So we provide a copy of the business paper at the meeting, which we're required to under the Act. We don't have a fee, and I don't believe we've been for provision of the paper. So.
Okay. So just one more clarification. This line item only relates to someone who's requesting for the entire year for the business papers to be given to them for each meeting. Yeah.
Even convidation papers can be delivered to the public? No. Then no, it's not much. And if people, the resident wants to business papers, they are really curious about our council, how it goes. So we have to give them.
It's online, Councillor Kim.
Online.
Yeah.
Yeah, online. Give them online $1,000.
All right, Councillor Blackmore. So I'm not going to include that in the motion.
Sorry, I haven't put my amendment up.
Sorry.
I haven't put my amendment up for you to reject it, Mr Mayor.
Go for it.
Yeah. So business papers for this is for our local residents if they come to council and they request a copy of the business papers. Then I believe this should actually be free for Stratford residents.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yep, I'll allow that.
I don't think we're going to get a rundown with requests.
I don't think we've had one, sorry, this is a council meeting.
I'm forgetting that. Yeah, councillors, I'll just remind councillors of...
Our organization, our topic count...
Councillor Kim, we just have a standing councillor.
Sorry, he's standing there.
Councillor Blackmore, any other notes you'd like to include in this motion? Okay. I'll just adjust D, who attend, just to finish it off with, who attend council meetings, when they attend council meetings, just to clarify.
I think it's, this would be more like, I think if a resident comes to the council and says, oh, is it possible we can get a copy? I mean, I don't think we should be providing hard copies at the meeting. I think it's just if, they should be able to do that.
Or upon request.
Point of order, it's part of legislation to have a copy here to the meeting.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think what we're saying is if a resident comes to our office and asks for a copy,
yes.
read for a copy.
Yeah, understood. Thank you, councillor. Upon request. Yeah, perfect. Councillors, any other amendments, councillors?
You did it? Did you do it?
Councillor Reddy?
Just a question through the chair. So from next meeting onwards, we will have at least 1 or 2 copies outside, hard copy. No. Is that right?
Just before the general manager goes ahead, I'll just clarify. The way I've understood the motion to be put is that it is upon request. Residents of Strathfield will be provided a free copy of the business papers, a free printed copy, as they already have access to the digital copy. Does that reflect the...
my question was upon request at council's customer service or something like that.
Because the legislation says that we need to have a hard copy, which is not available outside tonight. So will it be available from next meeting? Because previously I've seen like bundles of paper there. Because if you don't provide, because we don't allow any electronic gadget to be on in the council chambers, so it will be fair for people not sending home, not requesting private people who walk in, they should have access to the manual hard copy papers outside.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll just have the General Manager clarify.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I believe there would have been a hard copy there, whether one of the
It was
from the
not there.
gallery.
I was there, but it's
Okay,
not
so I can't, the governance staff do provide a copy, because we are required by law to do that. In terms of this amendment, this would come into effect for July after these has gone out on exhibition and then come back to council to be adopted.
Thank you. Councillors, Councillor Blackmore.
Just a question, just in relation to page 26, food premises. I just wanted some clarity. I did discuss it with Mr. Mayor, sorry. Just with the food premises inspections. So we charge $390 for a food premise inspection, for an admin fee for the food premises. Then we charge an additional $250 per inspection, and normally it's 1 a year or something like that, unless it's with repeat visits. Can I just get clarity on that? Is that correct how I'm reading it?
Through the General Manager to the staff, for clarification.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Blackmore, we do 2 inspections. One is the first visit, which is the $390, and there's an admin fee, so that includes being put on the register. It includes a letter to them, and then it also includes a sticker, so there's a bit of admin involved. And then the second one is when we go back, which is the $250. Yeah, every year. Every year, yes.
Councillors, any further questions, comments? Councillor Kim?
Yeah, this is very minor things for, I understand that, through Mayor. The basking, I have made a basking promotions.
What page is that, Councillor?
Page number 47 is per person per day $19. Looks very little money, but the basking itself is no profit. Just for the people and for the good enhancement of our community, the $10 enough price for them. If children maybe comes, or young people to come.
Under 18 it's free.
Yeah, 18 under is free, yeah, but still even adult is a university student and all these, they have no money. If you put a $19, they will not do. So we have to give them opportunity to perform, okay? So $10 is, I think, right price.
Thank you. I'll add that to the amendment, $10. Thank you. Councillors, any further additions to the amendment? Councillor Pensabene?
Yes, I think on page 28, private swimming pools, the Strathfield residents, a charge of $32 for a resuscitation chart. If they're going to have to pay those fees for the inspection, I think we'd be able to give them one as a no charge.
Yeah. I'd agree. If the amendment could reflect a no fee for the line item, it's resuscitation charts.
I'm a good councillor, I get this. It's for all residents.
Rather than the increase. Anything further, councillors? No, that being the case.
Councillor Chai, sorry.
Councillor Chai had something.
Doesn't sound like it. That being the case, I will put the...
You got something?
I have no animals.
I will put the recommendation to the report, to the vote with the amendment.
Amendments.
One amendment with some sub-clauses, councillors. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. All right.
Where are we up to?
Good question. Councillors, we now move to GMU 3. Here we go. All right. Councillors, we have an officer recommendation for this report. Does anyone wish to... I will move the report. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Reddy. Councillors, would anyone like to speak for or against the motion? I'll begin by just acknowledging the work that we did with the staff to come to this recommendation. I am nothing short of supportive of the maintaining of a biannual Spring Fair, Spring Festival, whatever you want to call it. It's something many of us who grew up in the area grew up with. It's a extremely inclusive event involving many multicultural communities, school groups, etc. The hope with this recommendation is that we can do our best to resuscitate the event in the future by having it every second year rather than every year, with a larger budget taken from the reserve of the previous year. The recommendation also includes the taking of some of that budget and giving it to the annual Moon Festival, which we hope will become a noodle market of some kind in the future. I'm supportive of the report. Councillors, would anyone else like to speak for or against or move a motion? Councillor Blackmore.
I'll like to move an amendment. I have a feeling you may not accept it. So my point one would be the cessation of the Strathfield Spring Festival.
I don't accept the amendment as the mover, so I will ask that you put that as a foreshadowed or as an amendment we can vote on separately. Yeah. So this is an amendment you're suggesting?
Cessation. Just basically the point one is the cessation of the Strathfield Spring Festival. That's the whole sentence. Point two would read $25,000 from the annual Spring Festival budget we reallocated to the Moon Festival budget and increase the Moon Festival budget to $75,000. Point three would read as it's written, and then I would put a point four to say that the budget allocation for the Strathfield Spring Festival be utilised to support local community groups hosting events in our town centres. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor. Any councillors wishing to speak for or against the amendment? Councillor Pensabene?
Yeah, I definitely will speak for this amendment. I think because we have such a diverse group of residents in our area, the Spring Festival doesn't capture that. And for the last couple of years, the Spring Festival hasn't seen the people that we've seen before, so we're losing it's losing its spark in a way. If we could encourage other events in the area, in our town centres, it will increase the volume of people in the area, the businesses would be happier, and it is better economically for us. Thank you.
Any councillors wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Kim?
Yeah, just supporting the Spring Festival cessation. I'd love to modify to any event, because in the Strathfield Council hasn't got much vibrant event here. So I'd like to support Matthew Blackmore's idea, but I'd love to add some more, because not only town centre but anywhere, but we want to give community groups more opportunity to do the event. So we want to use this.
Would you be happy for me to read the last 4 words?
Yeah.
Community groups hosting events.
Yeah, that's
Beautiful.
For hosting, so community groups hosting event, not council. It's council staff has a limited number of council staff has their own ideas, always limited. But if we give them opportunity, local groups, they have more enthusiasm to do that, and they have more variety ideas. So it will enhance our community, our council event. Because our council give very little support for the local community. So we will use this opportunity to this funding. We can give them away and bring them more variety of event ideas. Okay? So I'd like to use this one.
You agree with it?
Use through this funding to support local community. Okay, local community groups.
Thank you, Councillor Kim. Councillor Reddy?
Okay, if I suggest a different amendment,
Well, Councillor Reddy, we're voting on this amendment. Once we choose to vote on it and come to a decision, if we reject it, we'll go back to the original amendment, at which point we can go from there. Yeah. So all those in favour of, what was that, Councillor?
Nothing.
All those in favour of the motion, please raise your hand. This is for the amendment.
Do I have to close this, or
Sorry?
do I have to close on this?
Would you like any closing remarks on this motion?
Closing remarks, Mr. Mayor.
Excellent.
Look, our council staff do a fantastic job at running our events, and we support their work. But I do think that there's a lot of multicultural community groups in many communities across the area, whether it's the Chinese, Korean, Indian groups or the Nepalese emerging as well, who would love the support of council and some funding from council to actually put on events and put it on the way that they want to do it. And I think that they do actually get
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Blackmore, for the clarification. It's all right.
I wasn't finished.
You have a little bit of time.
I was just waiting because no one was listening.
No worries, Councillor.
So, yeah, look, I think by supporting the groups, a lot of these community groups are really grassroots, and they can actually get a lot more bang for their buck out of their community organisations and their community events. And they know the people and the people involved and the people on the ground, you know. Just an example is I was really impressed with Councillor Esther Kim with the Gap Yeong Memorial opening and the number of Korean community members who turned up, and that was through her efforts and her promotion. It wasn't through us putting signs around the area. That was through her network, and it was one of the biggest turnouts that we've had for an event, and I was actually really impressed by that. So I think it's where we can actually have the community actually on the ground getting people into these events. Then the people come to the events, then they spend money in our shops. It makes sense, and I'd like you all to support it.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll put the motion, sorry, this is an alternate motion. Is there a seconder for the alternate motion? Councillor Pensabene. Okay, so this is an alternate motion which we will now choose to vote on, accept or reject. And if it is rejected, we will go back to the original motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Councillors Pensabene, Blackmore and Kim. All those against, please raise your hands. Councillors Reddy, Chai and Bellardi. Using my... Councillor Chai put his hand up. Councillor Chai, you put your hand up. Yep. Thank you. Using my... remind me of no, hang on, but the vote is equal. Casting vote. Councillors, I'll use my casting vote. Sorry, I was lost for the word there for a moment. I'll use my casting vote to vote against it. So the motion is lost, or the alternate motion is lost. We will go back to the initial motion, and I will amend point 2 of it to remove that 25,000 from the Moon Festival increase. I believe we can do a bigger, better, and more well-attended Moon Festival under the leadership of the Chinese community, with an inclusion of their voices at the committee table, as we did with the councillors' point of order. As we did with the Gap Yeong Memorial, engaging with the Korean community, we will do what we can to ensure that this is a well-attended Moon Festival this year.
Money, yeah?
With the same budget as last year. Councillors, all those in favour, please raise your...
Did you say you're removing the extra money for the Moon Festival, was that right?
Yeah. Not transferring anything from Spring Festival.
So
So they've lost 25,000 off the...
So, councillors, point of order. To clarify the councillor's question, what I will say is the current recommendation from council is that the Spring Festival has a reduction in its budget for the odd year in which it is held, which is reallocated to the Moon Festival. I would like the budget to go as was initially planned, to $150,000, and the Moon Festival to have $50,000. Can that be reflected in the motion?
The point is a Spring Festival, whether you do...
Councillors, we're just going to wait a moment for it to be reflected in the... And I think you could probably just do with removing section 2 altogether. Probably would better.
Oh, so there's 175 now. Oh, there you go, Ben.
Yeah.
You've got no money.
All right, councillors. Councillors, anyone wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Reddy?
Mr. Mayor, me being a first-generation migrant, bringing my own culture, representing my own community, and the entire people of Strathfield. When I first migrated to Strathfield, I didn't want it to be only part of my community, but I was welcomed through the Spring Festival. My kids went there, they got onto the rides, I made friends, I eat food, and it's an annual event where people look after for. And I don't think Spring Festival stands for particular community. Yes, it doesn't, but it does stand as an identity for Strathfield. And it's a Strathfield Spring Festival. And I have enjoyed all my last 15 years going to the Spring Festival, taking my boys. And now my boys are teenagers, 16 and 17, and they still go to the Spring Festival, look for the Spring Festival, and they go with their friends, their mates, and they walk to the Spring Festival. It's something, we did had some disaster years when the weather was unkind for us, but we had some really beautiful times in the past. And it doesn't seclude saying that it's a Nepalese function, it's a Chinese function, or it's a Korean function, or it's an Indian thing. It's an Australian function, it's a Strathfield function, it's a Strathfield festival. People who live in Strathfield, they chose to be here for a reason. So I would definitely supporting the Spring Festival. And just to clarify the cross-table comments, nobody lost no money. It's the Spring Festival budget which is being saved to pass on to the next year. So there was nobody lost nothing, so let's not spread any rumors about it.
Yeah, I'll clarify that the budgets for both events are staying the same. And I also know Councillor Kim.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you. The point is, when I asked the Spring Faith Festival, I have never experienced Spring Festival of Strathfield, but on our workshop, we have discussed, and many people say it is declining. People do not turn up. And it's a Spring Festival, he's losing his own...
The mayor didn't turn up last year,
right? So that's why we discussed about the
Point of order.
I don't care what the point of order is, but Mr. Mayor, you had our former mayor was in hospital and couldn't attend an event.
Thank you, Councillor Blackmore.
No, you're having a crack. Okay, it's not the first time.
Councillor,
stop acting like a child, mate.
Councillor, I will note that I'm not having a crack. There have been comments thrown across the table this entire discussion. It's not only hypocritical but laughable that you're making that comment. The two councillors at the end of this table, I'm giving you both a warning. If you continue to make commentary about what you like and what you don't like, trying to use emotional blackmail against other councillors, I'll provide another warning. Councillor Kim, please continue.
Anyway, I didn't want any disturbance. So the problem is, why are there words? Any event, big event, we can hold. As a councillor Reddy, I like the idea too. We come here for Australia, not for Korean, not for Nepalese, not for as a Chinese. We make one Australian. So to make our community here in Strathfield community, we make event. Event brings lots of unity and cohesion and happiness. So if we counsel, when I say this one, we can give them opportunity to the local community group leading the event, not give them own their culture. No, they can bring, so it's a competition. I'm a community leader, and I have applied for many grants too. And I organize, when I have received a grant, I try to make, how can we make nice Australia, bring Australian spirit in the event? How can I satisfy all the local communities? We are thinking of all our effort, but I'm sorry to say this, but council staffs are tired of every continuous work and continuous event, same event. Not brilliant ideas cannot come. It's very routine ideas coming. That's why I said this opportunity, we can change our idea and give the opportunity for the local community groups and let them compete. What kind of idea they can bring it? We can select them and we can give them a support. Then we have more dynamic and nice event. So my English is not good enough, so I'm sorry about it. Okay? But I hope you understand what I mean.
Understood. Thank you, Councillor. I also note you did say you have not attended a spring fair, so I think it's unfair for the commentary you're making to go ahead. Any other councillors who speak for or against the motion? No, that being the case, I move the motion to a vote. Voting on it as is. All those in favour, please raise. All those in favour, please raise your hands. All those against, please raise your hands. This will be a, okay.
Oh my God.
Thank you, councillors. The recommendation is rejected. That being the case, I will note we probably have no events coming up. Moving on. Councillors, we move now to
Not to be stressed.
what's next?
She's just saying
CCS3, yes. Councillors, I will move CCS3. Is there a seconder? Councillor Reddy. Would you like to speak for or against the motion, councillors?
The questions may ask, can I?
Yeah, Councillor Kim, you may ask a question. To whom are you asking a question, councillor?
Through Mayor?
To whom?
To the chair.
To the
Chair.
chair, yeah, to the chair.
Thank you, councillor.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, the appointment, this time I found that two Korean advisory committee members we eliminated. So I'd like to find out what is the standard of policies or regulations to select, and what is the basic principle of selecting committee members, and who decides all this? And any reason, if someone is not selected, because previous member not selected, any reason should be notified for them. Because I'm myself as advisory member of the Home Affairs Department, whenever my three-year terms finish, then they will ask me, do you want to continue or do you want to stop it? So they always respect my give me a priority, present member. So I say, because of my blah blah blah, so I want to stop it, then they will apply for another. They apply for another member. But if I say I want to stay, then they will respect my position. But Strathfield Council, I don't know how you do it, so I want to find out what is your standard policy.
Thank you, councillor. I'll ask the question through the general manager.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So under the current terms of reference for the selection of the Multicultural Committee, which is approved by Council, Council selects a panel which is made up of staff, and they go through a similar recruitment process to hiring anybody else. So there's a panel, they go through the interviews and they go through an application process. The term of office is also aligned to the term of council under the current terms of reference. So we went to market again because there is a new term of council. And so the panel has completed their process, and the paper this evening outlines those who have been selected. And I note your feedback regarding providing advice to those who weren't selected. Following the business paper this evening, that advice will be provided to those who weren't selected, but we have to close out the process first, which tonight's paper forms part of.
So your partner's policy, or your partner's policy? What is your partner's policy? Can I ask you about your partner's
What's the
policy?
criteria for selection?
So they would, if you, and I can show you later, but there is an application process online, and they'll go through and answer those questions, and then the panel will go through and rate each applicant based on the quality of their application and the answers to how they've come through the process as well.
So there's anyone who stay their previous terms, they stay there? Anyone, and you're a new member, all of them are new members?
To my knowledge, they're all new members.
All new members? Yes.
But the application process is open to anybody. So old members can apply.
Is there any reason you have to new members, all new members?
And that just depends on who applied for the positions.
That is very unclear.
Yeah.
That unclear.
If the old member didn't apply.
Thank you, councillor. Just a point of order, the director is still speaking. We'll allow her to finish her answer before you ask. Would you like to ask another question? If so, please wait for the director to finish. Thank you.
Okay. If the previous members didn't apply, then they wouldn't be considered again. So.
Is there an additional question, councillor?
For me, it's not clear.
Okay. Thank you.
Just a question quickly, and I believe what Councillor Kim had discussed previously, there was members of the Korean community on this committee in the past, and I think basically the question that Councillor Kim wants to know is, did they apply, did they get rejected, was there a reason they got rejected, was there any direction for them to be rejected, and I believe Mr Mayor, if a councillor speaking, it takes priority in this chamber, so I believe you should have let Councillor Kim speak.
Thank you, councillor. I'll take advice from you when I ask for it. Councillor Kim, on your behalf, I might ask a question to the director myself. Is there any feedback you can provide as to why certain members may have been rejected?
Through you, Mr Mayor, so that feedback would be provided direct to the people who applied following this evening's council meeting if the committee progresses.
Thank you. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those, I'll move it. Is there a seconder?
I've got a question.
Sorry?
I have a question.
We'll just move on to the vote. Is there a seconder to the motion? Councillor Reddy. Does anyone wish to... All those wishing to vote in favour, please raise your hand. Councillors Kai, Balat...
What for favour?
To accept the recommendation. No. Councillors Kai, Bellardi and Reddy. All those against? Councillors Pensabene, Blackmore and Kim. I'll use my casting vote to support it. The motion is carried. We move on to PE1, the amendment of the Strathfield Consolidated Development Control Plan. Councillors, we have an officer recommendation for this report. I will move the recommendation. Is there a seconder? Councillor Reddy. Councillors, would anyone like to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Blackmore.
Yeah, I have a question firstly, just before I potentially make an amendment. Just in point 2, I just want to get some clarity where it says that we delegate authority to make changes, and I know there's minor administrative changes during the drafting exhibition process. Is that a normal practice that once there's an exhibition done, that the changes then get made on post-exhibition, and then they come back to council, which we have that obviously come back to council for consideration? And I just want a bit of understanding about that process.
Councillor, I believe in the report it outlines what the delegated authority is able to do in that period, but I'll pass the question on to the General Manager.
Thank you, through you, Mr Mayor. Look, that really just allows to make any final grammatical changes, spelling mistake changes that obviously sometimes slip through, just to make sure the exhibition document that goes on the exhibition is accurate.
Thank you. Councillors, any other further questions or comments? Wishing to speak for or against the motion? No. That being the case, we'll go to a vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. I will now leave the room for PE2, the Homebush Todd Local Infrastructure Contributions Plan, and Councillor Kim will join me as the Deputy Mayor assumes the chair. Thank you.
Okay, now we are going to PE2, Homebush Todd Local Infrastructure Contribution Plan. Anyone want to move the motion? I will second it. Any?
Announce that Councillor Reddy moved.
Councillor Reddy move the motion. Any people? Anyone want to debate the motion? If not, I put this one for vote. All those in favor? It's carried, unanimous.
Oh, he used the... You always wanted to do that, didn't you?
Last time I didn't do it.
Hide it. We'll see what he will do.
Very good. Wouldn't be the first time, I don't think. Alright. Thank you, Council. Thank you to the Deputy Mayor. We now move to PE5 was pulled out. Oh, that's right, sorry, yes. PE6. Now, before we open this matter, I will ask the Director to provide maybe an executive summary through the General Manager and some commentary around the work that has been done and what is in the report as it shows.
Thank you to you, Mr. Mayor. I think maybe just to give councillors some background on the intent of the document you have for us. It is very much a key directions report, so it advances the consultation work that we did through 2004 and has been supplemented with the technical analysis that's been undertaken with the consultant team and really identifies the technical challenges that we need to address in the town centre, and they range from public realm, urban design, placemaking, as well as sort of economic development policies. It's really about exploring options and presenting ideas rather than solutions for the town centre. So, you know, within the document, you're not going to see any final recommendations saying you must do X, Y, or Z, or put forward a particular proposal or solution at all. And it's really there to discuss potential ideas that will be explored as we move forward with the preparation of the master plan. And that's explored under various themes that have been identified through the work around economic development, placemaking, traffic management, reimagining Strathfield Square. And within each theme, there's, I guess, a discussion around that. And to give you an example, we have the Lean into Local theme, which is on page 889 of the report, which is around providing a centre a local centre that supports local businesses and supports local community services. It describes that issue with some detail and put forward some options and ideas that will be explored through the technical work. For example, expanding the use of footpath dining, and then highlights the outcomes that we would expect to achieve with that. So the document as it stands is really something for us to engage with community, business and key property owners. and is intended to get some feedback on the direction we're likely to take. In terms of next steps, we would like to put this on exhibition through May and June, coming back to Council with a consultation report, most likely in July. And it will also serve as a foundation for the technical team to progress forwards with the draft master plan and come forward with the more concrete technical solutions, which I think councillors are expecting as an outcome of this report. Again, that draft report, the draft master plan, will come back to council for resolution to adopt for public exhibition, and we'll be going back out on public exhibition with the final draft master plan. So the entirety of the ideas and the solutions and the strategies we put forward will be contained in that draft master plan.
Thank you. Councillors, any other questions or discussion? I'll move it. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Pensabene. Councillors, does anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Blackmore.
Look, I know that there is a delay, but it is unfortunate that there was not many councillors present at the workshop that this actually got brought to. I think it is a really important document, and I think it is important that all the councillors are there and can have their say. My preference is that we just have a dedicated workshop for this, and we talk it over in that workshop. I don't really want to go through the report and point out the number of mistakes the external company has made in relation to our suburb and our town centre. So if you would accept that we could actually just, would delay it obviously 1 month, which I don't think is a big deal when we're talking about a project that's looking in the future of Stratford, probably the next 50 to 100 years. So I would just like that council would have a dedicated workshop as early as practicable, and then for it to come back to the subsequent council meeting for endorsement.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll just ask through the General Manager if a delay to next month's meeting with a workshop in the meantime is possible and appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I think that is something we can accommodate within the programme. We have received external funding for this project, which we are required to expend by July, so it would need to go back to the funding body to seek that extension.
Thank you. So, councillors, I'll move that this is delayed, or I will move that this is not put on exhibition as an amendment to the recommendation, and that a workshop be provided for councillor feedback before the meeting is...
a dedicated workshop.
On this matter, yes. A separate workshop is organised to discuss this matter. I'll just have in a moment. I will just have the General Manager make any commentary around that.
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Mayor. So it might be, just given the timing and the uncertainty of whether the extension for the funding would be provided, probably be useful for councillors to consider having a workshop probably within the next week, and then probably to reconsider the matter at an extraordinary meeting, so that there's one unnecessary delay.
Yep.
So I think if that was amenable to councillors and something you reflected in your motion for an extraordinary meeting to be held, probably within the next fortnight.
Yep, thank you. If that could be reflected in the by the minute taker.
Yeah. Just not this week.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Now... We now move to PE7, the proponent-led planning proposal. Councillors, I will move the recommendation. Anyone wishing to second? Councillor Chai. Councillors, would anyone wish to speak for or against this motion? Councillor Blackmore.
Yeah. Just in relation to this one again, as I'm saying, we've had a lot of workshops, a lot of stuff going on, and just for the benefit of the public as well. If we could actually just get a quick rundown. I believe the panel and the recommendation is to reject this proposal, and just have the key points as to what reason it is that we should support the rejection.
I'll remind councillors that the reasoning is rather extensive in the business paper, so just to read them next time. For the General Manager, maybe to answer the question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, really the principal concern with this planning proposal is the increase in height. So the increase in height to a 35 metre tall building. The visual impact assessment prepared by the proponent, which we have peer reviewed, I think demonstrates that there would be significant adverse visual impacts from a number of connections going around the site. And really we are rejecting on the basis of that increase in height, which we think is, we say is excessive. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, anyone wishing to speak for or against the motion? No, that being the case, I put the motion to a vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Now to EO1, return and earn alternate locations. Before we begin, I'd just like a clarification from staff on the parking lot there. The section of the parking lot which belongs to council, which is leased to Dan Murphy's, and this is through you, Mr. General Manager, the remaining site that is not leased to Dan Murphy's is part of the lease agreement with the tenants. And I've seen correspondence from a member of staff today confirming that. So it seems as though there's no actual room on the car parking site. Can that be clarified?
Through the Mayor. The car parking site on Coronation Parade, behind the Enfield Town Hall, there's 6 spaces that are leased out. The rest of the spaces are ours, so we can do what we want with those spaces.
Can I just make a point? I believe, and I've been arguing this, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but there is always confusion, and I've said it, and I know the history of the site. I've been in the area for a long time. You know, we don't own the car park in front of Dan Murphy's. We don't lease that to Dan Murphy's. We lease the parking at the town hall to Dan Murphy's. They have a licence agreement on it. It's approximately $50,000 a year. It's the remaining spaces in that car park. It's been there for a long time. They have a lease. My understanding is there's still 2 years plus probably another 5 years option from my memory. And I want to clarify that. And I've been told that it's wrong many times. I've been told that it's right in correspondence as well. That car park is leased by Dan Murphy's, and we cannot put something where we actually have somebody else leasing the property.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor.
I'll move it.
I'll move the motion. Is there a seconder? Councillor Blackmore. Now, the recommendation is to support the installation of a return earn facility at the Coronation Parade Enfield Hall car park. Councillors, I'll just say a few words. I'll be voting against the motion. I believe that the mess associated with the Strathfield Town Centre car park is likely to be replicated wherever we move this particular facility. If we look at neighbouring council areas, I believe both Burwood and Canada Bay, and I'm not sure which council falls into, but just near Silverwater Bridge, might be Cumberland, if not Parramatta. There are similar sites that this particular Tomra Collection Solutions group hire out they have private leases with other sites. They're not on council land, as far as I know, and it's a much cleaner look to have them in a separate facility rather than out in the public in a the way that we have it at the moment at the town centre. So I won't be supporting the recommendation, and when the lease or agreement does end at the town centre, this will lapse their arrangement with Strathfield indefinitely. Any other councillors wishing to speak for or against the motion? No, that being the case, we'll move to a vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. All those against, please raise your hands. Unanimously rejected. Thank you, councillors. Now to EO2. Councillors, I will move the motion amended. A seconder? Seconding? Councillor Pensabene. And my suggestion is that based on the community feedback, an increase of 50% of the averages as outlined in the report with CPI is adopted as the new application fee, as the new fee for each for application, installation, and the annual fee. So an increase of 50% be applied to the an increase of 50% be applied to the average as identified in the report. And that will apply to the various fees associated. Thank you. And an annual increase according to CPI. Should apply, maybe at the end. Thank you. Councillors, would anyone like to speak for or against the amended motion? No. All right, that being the case, I put the motion to a vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. I believe we are at the end of our meeting. There are no matters of urgency. Sorry. Disappear from the the next meeting. No, you can recount. I'll just recommit the report with an adjustment. I think the minute taking deleted the last. I think it's point 4. If we can just have that go back in, and I'll just move that again. Seconded by Councillor Bene. And so I'm putting it to a vote to recommit the report with this amended version. Yep. So the move to recommit, all those in favour, carried unanimously. And for that report to then reflect the adjusted. So I'm moving the report, and I'm making the adjusted motion as previous, with a seconder, Councillor Pensabene, and is it just making sure point 4, yeah, point 3, yeah, perfect. Okay, and all those in favour, please raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Okay, now to the conclusion of the meeting. There being no further business, I declare the meeting closed, the time being 8:45 p.m. Thank you, councillor.